Fire them up. That's what we do at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up right here on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. No one still cares about Meta or Facebook, and we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 1039 WYAB, help us build the station, grow the channel, like, share, and subscribe. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell a Democrat. Definitely follow me on X. It's just at Andrew Gosser, ANDREWGASSER on X. That's where I repost all of the stories and where I pull my information from. So you can trust me, but verify what I'm saying. Absolutely do that. Just like I would verify everything that you all would say to me. If you want to be part of this program today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show, it's standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? You all are the saints. I planted it, Apollos watered it, but it's God that gave the increase. And I'll tell you what, I am planting seeds everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Everywhere. I'm a Barnabas. I'm happy. I'm cheerful. Glass half full. No, glass isn't half full. Glass is 3/4 full. Life is good. And then Toots McCracken wrecked my world last week. And you might think it's because she said she's going to, oh, no, you're not going to get me to say that nasty word. You might think that she's going to Oxford. No. She said, Dad, you're just like an iPad kid. And I'm like, what the heck is an iPad kid? I don't even own an iPad. And in fact, I hate Apple products in general. I tried to go to Samsung route, just couldn't get away from the silly iPhone. There's someone else I blame for that, but we'll get into that at a future show, future time. But I hate iPads. I think I've bought 2 in my entire life. I think I bought one for my oldest son, and I bought one for Toots McCracken, and she doesn't even use an iPad. She goes, Dad, you're just like an iPad kid. And ladies and gentlemen, after watching 18.4 seconds of an iPad kid video montage, I'm like, we're cooked. We are cooked in the worst way possible, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even play these videos because these are 2 and 3-year-olds cussing like sailors because mom or dad took away the iPad. And instead of knocking the kid in the next week for mouthing off to mom and dad, they just gave the iPad back and reinforced the negative behavior. Oh, spare the rod, you're going to be in trouble. Wait, I encourage everybody to find out what an iPad kid is. And some of these compilations are terrible. I've been talking about it, how our teachers are sounding the alarm about these kids coming into kindergarten in first and second grade with no social skills, not even knowing the alphabet. But they know what 6, 7, 6, 7. They'll talk about that all day long. What's important to you? What's important to your kids? What's important to the education that they get? Are you one of these parents who are sitting there actively involved in your kids' education, making sure they get the morals and values that you think are important? Are you spending more time with them teaching them how to read and write? Or are you just letting them go ahead and worry about the latest episode of Paw Patrol? Yeah, I got a thing against Paw Patrol. I know it's my granddaughter's favorite, but maybe that's why I'm so argumentative against it. Because it could be that way. I am a little bit antagonistic like that, if I'm being truthful. But I sit there and I'm thinking about all the problems that are in the world right now. Whether that be the Iranian conflict, war. It's a war. Congress doesn't have the testicular fortitude to call it a war, but it's a war. Whether it be the war in Ukraine and Russia, whether it be the Cold War with China, whether it be the spiritual war with Islam, whether it be the local political war. But one thing is for certain, out of the last 25 years of cinema, 26 years, let's just call it a quarter century. What's a year between friends? The one piece of cinema that makes more sense than anything is The Matrix. I'm sure of it, because people would rather stay in those pods filled with goop and sitting there running a simulation of roadblocks or whatever these block games are, Lego ga oh, man, I'm telling you what, these Lego AI videos that are coming out, unreal. People would rather be caught in a simulation and a simulation of life as being good, happy, full of roses, sunflowers, unicorns, and rainbow farts than they would actually going out and working in the real world. They rather simulate touching grass than walking out in the front yard in the heat and actually touching grass. Ladies and gentlemen, we grew up outside on our bikes, on the street, out there on the corner, walking. Some of us who grew up in the cold had to walk to school. I had to walk an eighth of a mile to school every day. Pretty easy. But in the winter, I'd be trudging through the snow. And that was in first grade, ladies and gentlemen. And now we have these heat warnings. And oh my gosh, we got to be careful. We are trying to remove or minimize the risk of life. Some people say I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. We're living on our knees right now. We just don't know it yet. This can go so many different ways, but I wanted to start it off with the iPad kids because these iPad kids are going to fall for whatever AI says. And the propaganda is real, ladies and gentlemen. I saw a video this weekend was sent by a military retiree buddy of mine. We are ideologically completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum. He is very much to the left side. I'm very much to the right side. Great chief petty officer. Uh, just a great guy. He worked under me when I was assistant line petty officer for Fighter Squadron 102. Great plane captain, trained a lot of people, great military career. But he's like, these kids, and he's a teacher now, by the way. These kids can't make basic decisions. These kids can't make basic decisions. They can't read when they get to, I think he's second. I'll text him during the break. I don't know if he's second or third grade teacher. They can't read in his class. He went back 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Kids were reading at a much higher proficiency back then than they are now, which makes complete and total sense because we're not using technology to improve humanity. We're creating technology to entertain humanity. Why learn to read when I can have the iPad read it for me? Why work when I know that in 5 years, AI robots are gonna outperform me and do everything that I wanna do? Why fight the AI data centers when I can go ahead and have insert my favorite porn star video here and get a full cut of it? We are not teaching the morals and the ethics that our parents gave to us, and we thought, "Hey, we can handle a little bit of this debauchery because we've got a good firm foundation that we were built upon." But our kids don't have a good firm foundation, and they're not built on sand, ladies and gentlemen. It's quicksand. It's absolute quicksand. And I don't see people really talking about it. I don't see people talking about the financial decay of this country. Both parties are doing it. I understand the conservative, well, I don't even wanna call it conservative 'cause there is no real conservative side. I would say that I see the Republican side wanting to defend the heritage and what this country stood for, but not stand for. I see what the liberals are trying to do, and it's taken all of us who have common sense completely out of the picture. Exhibit 1, Views on socialism and capitalism. We don't talk about the negative effects of socialism because socialism is Nazism, and Nazis are the the bully for everything that is on the left. If you talk to a kid today, they will believe that conservatism is fascism, and it's completely wrong. They'll believe that conservatism is what leads to socialism, and it's completely wrong. And don't you're sitting there, Andy, you're being completely hypocritical. You're not telling the truth. I got the audio to prove it, ladies and gentlemen. But this is coming from a YouGov survey. Views of socialism and capitalism among Democrats. 58% of Democrats think socialism is positive. 32% of Democrats think capitalism is positive. 18% of Democrats think socialism is negative. And 50% of Democrats think capitalism is negative. I'll go ahead and repost that for your inspection and approval right there at andrewgosser.com. Where is this coming from? Where are we headed? Our schools don't teach history anymore. We teach what we feel history should be, but not actually what happened in history. Our news media is a joke. And if you stand up to what the news media is talking about, if you point out the inconsistencies of our textbooks, our history, our teaching, well, now you're a bigot, a racist, and a phobe. And then the political parties, both sides, you see the traditional Democrats like, what is happening here with the DSA? And you see the Republicans sitting there, what's happening with MAGA or the Tea Party? And we can go into the vast differences between MAGA and Tea Party compared to the violent left. Not even debatable. Oh, you'll have plenty of talking heads on CBS, ABC, NBC, and the party saying, "Oh, the right wing is so violent." And you go look back in history, and you're like, "Okay, this really isn't a Republican right winger. This is more of a fascist secularist." And I've got good friends who disagree with me on this, but we're not duking it out either. We're not throwing blows or exchanging gunfire. We're having open, honest debate. You notice that it's not the Democrats and the leftists who are getting assassinated, martyred, or attempted assassination. Oh, no. Not just in America, but around the world. You go look at what's happening. And I felt the place that we needed to start was with the fake iPad kids, because this is the generation that we're fixing to turn over humanity to, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not looking good for the home team. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We're off and running. We'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. We're just in a commercial break. We're going to go do some more of this craziness being pushed by the national media. And in the second hour, we're going to talk about what is being propagated by our local Republican Party about anybody who has anything to say about the current situation about the Islamic movement inside America. We'll get right to it.
The poll darn government constitutional amendment. So fix the darn government constitutional amendment. It is time. It should outlaw partisan redistricting and enshrine part of the Voting Rights Act right there in the Constitution. Will also think this government.
It's kind of cool to see X working again like it used to be. I still can't get messages from X, but I can see the people locking in, which is pretty cool. Mm. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYAB. Moving and grooving this morning. Let me bump this up a little bit. Now, this is going to be who I think could be the Democrat nominated nomination for president in 2028. He is the Kentucky governor. His name is Andy Beshear, second generation politician. I believe his father was also a Democrat governor of Kentucky. And he is saying a lot of the populist talking points that so many Democrats are longing for, that the DSA can't stand, and that there's a big centrist movement in the middle. And dare I say, even some who lean right, who are going to agree with some of this, but we need to dismantle it. So without further ado,
and the NIMBYism. But I tell you what, people also think this government is broken. So a fix.
We all agree that the government is broken. It doesn't matter whether you're a blue bleeding Democrat or a red bleeding Republican. We all can agree that the government that is currently configured in the United States of America is an absolute hot mess. We can't elect our own senators here in Mississippi without having them first appointed and running as an incumbent. Same thing in Democrat states. So just don't say, oh, it's the Republicans, it's the Republicans. No, it's Democrats too. We see the local corruption in big cities like Jackson and small cities like Benoit. Big cities like Chicago and in smaller cities like Cary. So it's not what he's saying here is a populist message. It's not necessarily a left wing or right wing thing.
The darn government constitutional amendment. It is time. It should outlaw partisan redistricting and enshrine part of the Voting Rights Act right there in the Constitution. It should create term limits for Congress and the Supreme Court. No more gaming. Those
sure does sound good, doesn't it?
Appointments. It should also overturn Citizens United. And I think
we're going to talk about Citizens United because when you hear where big money's coming from, oh, I'm going to be a racist and a bigot for just pointing it out. But yet, here we are.
Call for direct elections of the president and the vice president. That could actually make things work. A big idea that would, yes, change government, but in a way enshrined in the Constitution where people would know it's going to get better.
and that is Andy Beshear, Democrat, Kentucky governor, and he's saying it. We know that it's going to change the government. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever you have a politician say, "We're here from the government and we're here to help, we have to change, we have to do something," that is your first moment to realize, oh, we got to hit the brakes on this because something bad's about to happen. And I will sit there and debate this till the cows come home. You do not want to get rid of the electoral college voter system. And he's going to prove my point right here. This is, by the way, CBS News Face the Nation.
I didn't realize you support abolishing the electoral college. If you're saying direct election of the president and vice president.
Yeah, I've said it a number of times, and it's because in Kentucky, we will never see a candidate for president or vice president unless
we've had 47 presidents in the United States of America. And I don't have the exact political breakdown of where they're all from, but I would bet that most of our presidents come from more populous states. And the electoral college system is brilliantly set up as it was envisioned to make sure that the small states have a say in who's elected their president. Mississippi, in general, is not going to elect the same type of person who they'd elect in California or Oregon or Wisconsin or Michigan or Minnesota or Illinois or Washington. Just like Florida and Texas wouldn't elect somebody from Colorado or New Mexico or Virginia or New York. Everybody gets their slice of the pie to their population through the electoral college system. That's how we go ahead and figure out how many congressmen we're going to get. But ladies and gentlemen, it gets better.
Unless they're from here. Why? Because people just expect that it'll go one way or the other. It's the idea that someone would get elected not just knowing about 7 states, but having to earn votes all over the United States.
That's what we do now. And if you look at how the congressional districts are drawn up, starting in the blue states, like my beloved Illinois, she's like an Ashley. You got to be careful if you're going to date a girl named Ashley. I'm just saying. Sit there and you think sweetest thing and then rips your heart in half. I never dated an Ashley, by the way. But it's true. The way we draw districts, the way that we have to gerrymander and draw these contorted lines like Mississippi's 2nd Congressional District, it's wrong. I'll say that just like it's wrong for Illinois to do it, just like it's wrong for Florida and Texas to do it. But when you have all this apathy, when you have all this wrongdoing and the people are so fed up with it that they're willing to go embrace even more draconian measures, we're setting ourselves up for a big, big failure, ladies and gentlemen. Big, big failure.
Certainly think it's time.
And I do not think it's time to get rid of the electoral college vote. I think it's time for us to even have closer inspection of our governments. Instead of using our AI to censor ourselves through YouTube, through X, through ChatGPT, through Google, we should be opening up what we can go ahead and access. Why is it that in 2026, we can't have all of our bills online? Whether you are a mega metropolis like the great city of Jackson, Mississippi, or a small town, homegrown town of Benoit, Mississippi. It's not difficult. You can put all your bills online for about $130 a year annual. Yep, you have to have some new policies in place to make sure that you want to have it actually done, but it's not what they want you to believe. They want you to make everything so difficult and terrible to do. It's impossible to do. Like these data centers. We talked about it in the last hour with Clay on the Matthew Bishop show. These data centers are evolving so quickly, we can't build them as fast as the technology is improving itself. And there might even be something bigger out there than what StarMind is going to do. But I'll tell you this, we have put ourselves in a heck of a pickle, ladies and gentlemen, by not educating our kids, by not teaching our kids what's important in life, the respect and values. I'll tell you what, the 16 to 18-year-olds today, most of them, horrible manners. You say hello to them, and they look at you like you're shocked. Walking by them, going into the Kroger, "Good morning." And they look up from their phone like, "Oh, what's going on here? What did I miss?" It's absolutely brutal, and this is the type of messaging that is gonna come out from our mainstream media, just like this Andy Bouchard guy, and they'll give him all the free airtime they want, but they won't talk about how our schools are failing, how our teachers are I mean, you have grown black men crying on TikTok. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I've seen enough of it to know that this is a full-grown black educator, maybe 40s, 50s, gray beard, crying because his kids can't do fractions in math. You've got UCLA college students who can't read, but they're getting hundreds of $1,000s in debt through that education system, and they're actually having their life stolen from them. It's terrible what we're doing, and, you know, we as Gen Xers, as late millennials, I'm a Gen Xer, firmly Gen X, set 1972, proud of it. But we've had college education ingrained to our society for so long that you've gotta go to college to be successful, that we've turned into a bunch of soft, weak workers who can't critically think. We don't appreciate the electricians out there, the welders out there, the plumbers out there. And we've created this complete dependency on somebody else for our own well-being. And remember that dependency is what happens before slavery and the cycle of a republic, which General Flynn so eloquently put out, which we talked about last week. If you missed that, you have to go back and listen to it because it was really good. You've got the iPad babies who can't think. You've got the current generation of kids who can't do math. Ladies and gentlemen, and it's just getting worse because now we're having, instead of tackling the problems like illiteracy and work ethic and moral values, we're just sitting here attacking each other over silly stuff. We'll get to it as the program unfolds here on the Andrew Gosser Show on 1039 WYB. We'll be right back. Man, I'll tell you what, some of these texts and DMs coming in are unbelievable. People saying that I'm advocating for the removal of the electoral college voter. My goodness. See what happened? We get so angry and so fired up. We get so polarized. We can't even think what we're actually hearing. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna have to use this as a example here. Miss Jody McPhee. My goodness gracious. Hmm. Let that go for a second. Yeah. Absolutely love it. You know, you are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. And the one thing that we can all agree on is that a drive-by, someone might get shot from a lucky shot, but they're never going to have the full scene, the full picture. And there are people who tune into the show, hear me halfway through a monologue, and miss the point. There's not a politician on earth who holds a candle to our founders. Bugger off, mental midget. Lady, did you not hear what I first said in the whole first segment of the show? If anybody who listens to the show for more than 30 seconds realize that I am arguably one of the biggest advocates for our founding fathers and our Judeo-Christian value system on the air in Mississippi today. And we've got people who are sitting here trying to start a war with somebody who's on their side. You know, it's like you're sitting there saying, this is what the enemy is doing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you what the enemy is doing. And you get mad at your intel officer for giving you an honest assessment of the battle space. You've got people out there who can't, electoral college good. Republicans like it. It must be bad. Overthrow it. And people are making hasty decisions without real research and thought. But their iPad will tell them what to think. That smartphone in your hand will tell you what to think. I'm still upset my daughter thought I was an iPad kid. We're gonna have to have a discussion about that. But in the beginning of the show, I talked about how both parties are kind of screwing us all over. And this just further cements my point on why we have to be so hyper-focused locally. Because trying to fix something in Washington is going to be tough. We will never get another populist president like President Trump, in my opinion. The system, Trump was an anomaly. He came up through the 90s and the early 2000s through the mainstream media who loved him, and he built up this enormous cachet. And they almost took him out politically and physically. But listen to what Nancy Mace says right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's listen to this really closely.
So where do we stand on the investigation into Ilhan Omar? Obviously, there's some, questions regarding her citizenship. She's been referred to the ethics committee. Can we trust the ethics committee to actually be ethical and do the right thing?
Who again is the chairman of the ethics committee? Someone remind me. Oh, that's right. Mississippi 3rd Congressional District, Mr. Michael Guest. Okay. Well, Miss Nancy, please tell us what's going on.
Well, what's happened so far? Like, really, I think the remark is always let the process play out, right? That's what they always say, and nothing never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her brother husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more?
Wait, you know what, Nancy? I didn't hear you. Who said that? Well,
It was Republicans that killed my motion.
The Republicans killed the motion. Ladies and gentlemen, you think this is Democrats versus Republicans? Liberal versus conservative? I put it bigger than that. I put it good versus evil. If you're in this country illegally, then you shouldn't be here. If you somehow tricked the system to get here, you should be gone. But let's let Miss Nancy Mace finish this up.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more insight you can share on that?
As far as I know, nothing's going on, and nothing will go on. And that's Congress for you, because both sides protect the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So where do
And why can Nancy Mace say that? Why? Because she was running for governor. She didn't get the endorsement of President Trump. She didn't go out like a MTG or one of these other Congress persons who got so upset because Trump didn't want to endorse them for whatever reason. She just calling balls and strikes. South Carolina lost a good one. Did I agree with everything that Nancy Mace did? No. Do I agree with everything that every congressman does? No. Do I agree with everything what the party does? No. But when you have the party so openly disregarding the U.S. Constitution, the document that is the basis for our country, and we are allowing an invasion and infiltration of our country, and then you're all of a sudden going to be all shocked and surprised when it doesn't look like our country anymore. Hey, that's on you. That's not on anybody else but yourself, because we're so apathetic. We're so drawn down in our ways. You're afraid to speak out. You sit there and you're like, oh, I watched what happened when this person spoke out. They got their head chopped off. Well, you notice there's a way to talk about something and a way not. There's a way to logically disagree with somebody and a way not to. And we try to do that here on this show. I think the only time you ever really heard me lose it was when Ketanji Brown Jackson couldn't say what a woman was. And when that lady from Benoit, Mississippi decided to hang up on me during the commercial break because she couldn't answer a simple question. But that's what's going to be coming up in the next hour, too. We're going to be talking about I'm not worried about what necessarily Texas is doing or what Michigan is doing, what Minnesota's doing. What's Mississippi doing? And there are people out there who really want to get to the bottom of this. And it gets all back to the iPad kids generation. Do they want to learn the lesson the hard way or the easy way? You just want to sit there and swipe right, swipe left, scroll up. I got sent a video. This kid is watching 2 iPads at the same time, playing Roblox on one iPad and watching a movie and interacting with it on another iPad. Side screening, I think is what it is. I just sat there and watched like 5 seconds of it and like, I don't even want to get myself interested in this garbage. I know that I don't want my granddaughter to be a part of it. I'm so proud of my son and his wife for completely limiting screen time. I truly believe that screens should be removed from schools. And speaking of that, the distraction in our pocket coming from Magnolia Tribune, and it just happens to be reposted. Is it the Mississippi Free Press that reposted it? I think it's the Mississippi Free Press that also reposted it. But I'll read Magnolia Tribune because I like what's going on there. I believe in what Russ is doing. I know we disagree on some things. But again, the warning's being put out. Get these phones out of schools. But do we do it? Nope. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Andrew, in regards to your iPad babies, there's another problem associated with that. I heard a pediatric ophthalmologist say that in a few years, we're going to have an epidemic of childhood blindness.
I have not heard that. Can you go into that a little more?
I just heard her say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're holding these iPads and their phones so close to their faces.
I think we definitely know that. We learned that in the 90s with our kids. And as the military ended up, as we went more to a digital screen, we found more and more vision problems because we're so focusing on the dots and not necessarily the natural surroundings in front of us, you know?
Yeah, but we're starting them at a much younger age now.
Yep. You're totally right on that, man. Do you have any grad kids with iPads or anything like that?
No.
I wish I could say.
And I don't have an iPad, and I make it a practice to get away from my phone for at least 2 to 3 hours a day.
Man, could you imagine if we could only use our cell phones for 1 hour a day max? No social media, no nothing.
Well, why don't you and Sweet Pea practice it? Drive around the farm. Don't take the phone with you.
Oh, well, we do that. We do have a like a MP3 player that plays music. We blast worship music while we're driving around.
Yeah.
And we do stay away from the phone, but you know, it's the 3% who are doing what you and I are doing compared to the other 97% that have their phone locked to them. And it's almost like we're creating a society, and I'd like to know what you think about this. It's almost like we're creating a society that's dependent on the cell phone. Would you not agree?
Oh, I totally agree. If you can't walk away from your phone, let's say for an hour, then I consider you a phone addict.
I completely agree with it. And you see the kids today. I see my daughter and their friends. They're sitting there with their phone. They're sitting there looking at it just every so often. And we used to laugh about this 20 years ago, thinking this was silly, but it's a real epidemic, and it's destroying our country. It's destroying humanity.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Brother, I just
thought I'd pass that on from one veteran to another.
Brother, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you listening, and call back again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye. What he's preaching isn't wrong. I know that there's studies saying that enhanced exposure to screen time degrades the eyes. We've got the statistics to prove it. But again, just crusty old farmers out there who are going to end up being the ones who actually, if we can possibly save humanity, do save humanity. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. We're going to take our last commercial break of the first hour. We'll be right back. I guess people just don't get it, ladies and gentlemen. They just don't get it. We'll be right back.
Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. trucks live here.
Remember when Saturday meant tackling 3 projects before lunch? Now you need a nap after buying the lumber. It doesn't happen all at once. Energy slips away a little at a time. Focus does too. The team at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness helps men get answers to low testosterone, fatigue, weight gain, and more. Because getting older is mandatory. Feeling old is optional. Learn more at livebettermen.com. That's livebettermen.com.
Got a car, truck, or SUV you're trying to sell? Well, we want to buy. Hi, I'm Casey Ellis, owner of Ellis Autoplex in Brandon. Right now, we're paying top dollar for clean vehicles, and you don't have to buy anything from us. We'll appraise your vehicle, make you a strong offer, and you can walk away with a check the same day. No marketplace maniacs or Craigslist crazies here. Our checks are real. If you've been thinking about selling, well, now's the time. Ellis Autoplex in Brandon is home of Little Truck City. Follow us on Facebook or shop online, ellisautoplex.com.
Bring your whole family to Fun in Flora at the Calico Fair, hosted by Flora Methodist Church on Saturday, August 22nd from 4:30 until 7:30. Kids will enjoy free water slides, jump houses, games, and more. Browse the country store, bid in the live and silent auctions, enjoy live entertainment, and grab a pulled pork dinner for just $12. Food, fellowship, and fun. We'll see you at Fun in Flora at the Calico Fair.
There is nothing like the first Saturday in Stark Vegas. Be there.
Good morning, brother Shane. It was great having dinner with you on Friday night or Saturday night.
From tailgates in the junction to the sound of thousands of cowbells, experience the tradition, energy, and excitement that make game days in Starkville so special. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the first home game atmosphere. Secure your first Saturday 4-pack today at hailstate.com/tickets.
Hey, Flora, the farm store in Flora, fresh from the farm right here. The farm store in Flora, organic, local, clear. Locally sourced meats and vegetables too. Fresh produce every day, picked just for you. The farm store in Flora, fresh from the farm right here. The farm
Those wings were pretty delicious, man.
Come see what's fresh today.
Want insider tips on foundation repair, maintenance, and how to protect your biggest investment? Todd Sandridge, owner of Superior Foundation Services, will be dropping in this month for quick interviews with your favorite local hosts. Whether you're dealing with cracks, settling, or just want peace of mind, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Superior Foundation Services, helping you stay on solid ground. Find them online at superior.ms. That's superior.ms.
Managing payroll, benefits, workers' comp, and HR tasks can take valuable time away from running your business. That's where People Lease comes in. From payroll processing and tax filing to employee benefits and retirement plan administration, People Lease helps simplify your back office operations while improving employee satisfaction. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Schedule your consultation today at peoplelease.com. That's peoplelease.com.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. You know, English is our national language, and it is. Man, there's a phone call here. Let's try to take it. Hey, you got 30 seconds.
That's all I need. Hey, you know, I'm a big proponent of buying local. Where exactly is the farm store? Is that the one at the four-way stop? Where is it?
The farm store, that's the roadside stands. I don't even think there's the farm store. The farm store in Flora. I have to get the exact address for that. I'm not sure exactly where it's at.
Well, let me know, because I mean, I think buying local is a big deal, and I would like to really support them.
Dude, I'll get that out, and hopefully in the next hour. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Okay.
Yep. I always like it when callers call in to want to support our sponsors, like at the farm store in Flora. But we're supposed to elect people who can read the Constitution and understand the Constitution. Here is a 30-second clip from a Massachusetts mayor who's from the Dominican Republic, who was arrested for stealing over $1 million in COVID relief money. And listen to what his attorney says.
Hi, guys. Do you have any comment to the city?
Hi, guys.
Hi guys.
How are you,
No
Mr.
comment.
Mayor?
Excuse me.
I'm
What's your,
fine.
what's your,
Guys.
excuse me, guys. What's your, oh, no, I don't want
Sir.
to. Just relax.
Thank you.
Don't
God
want
bless
to do
you.
anything.
God bless you.
Just relax. You don't
God
have to, you
bless
don't have
you.
to cost
We're not. We're just.
God bless you.
Sure. Do you think it?
You want to say he doesn't speak English? No
Nothing.
comment.
Did you hear that? He doesn't speak English. No comment.
You want to say he doesn't speak English? No
Nothing.
comment.
How the hell can someone become a mayor in Massachusetts if they don't speak English? I'll tell you how, because they have a bunch of iPad kids sitting there voting. Democrats, democracy, good. Republicans, republicanism, bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the culture rot is real. But like I said in the last hour with Brother Clay, it's got nothing to do with the black people of America. It's got nothing to do with the white people of America. It's got to do with the dumbing down of America. And it is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is here. And you are going to start seeing it ramp up faster and faster. Now, I was brought to attention a couple of people who came on the air and didn't want to debate me about what's happening inside Mississippi with the Islamic movement and how they're trying to blame AI and whatnot. So we're going to take some cuts and we're going to listen to Mike Hurst, Republican GOP chairman of Mississippi. And I'm just going to give some honest feedback. We'll see what happens. Don't go anywhere. We're not going to get away from this Islamic takeover. We'll be right back.
Curious what your phone was like last weekend when the Facebook reports began about a judge that had been appointed allegedly in Mississippi to a municipal judgeship who was a Yemeni American. We later found out that that story was true, though maybe not exactly in the way that some people thought it was going to be. She was appointed to a judgeship in Benoit, Mississippi, a Delta town of about 350.
Yeah.
Well, if you're all in the same precinct,
Yes.
and you are already registered, which it looks like you are, then you can vouch for them as ID for them.
Oh, good.
She says to me, I says they do not need ID. She says, you are the ID.
He is the ID.
See, I am the ID.
And no ID needed. I just vouch for them.
Well,
It's
you're
good.
the ID.
I am the ID. It's good. How many people may I vouch for?
What is it? I
8?
thought it was 6.
I can vouch for 8 people. 8 people, no ID. We come right back. Thank you.
Well, if you're all in the same precinct,
Yes.
and you are
And we are back for hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble, where we are streaming on X, where we are streaming on YouTube. No one cares about Facebook or Meta, and we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 103.9 WYAB, help us grow the station, build the channel, like, share, and subscribe. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell a Democrat. Go ahead and follow me on X. I'm going to be reposting all of the things that I see right there on my X account, Andrew Gosser, ANDREWGASSER. We had a fire first hour, 601-879-0002 if you want to be part of the second hour, 601-879-5060 if you want to be part of the show via the text line. Appreciate that too. But no matter how you interact with the program, whether it be calling the show, texting, or via the chat, know that the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word incites anger. Now, I don't understand. I understand why the national GOP is where it's at, because they're playing a different game than we're playing here in Mississippi or even locally in Hinds County. But I don't understand why we're not standing up for the Save America Act and for Mississippi. Could it be that we're dependent on federal dollars? Could it be that we have a high dependency on what comes from Washington, D.C. into Mississippi? And that those states that are generating the cash, their economies are collapsing as we speak? New York's economy is destroyed by a radical Islamist taking over New York. New York is nothing like it was just 6 months ago, ladies and gentlemen. I know I've got family there. I've got friends there. Some of them got out before they could. Some of them have businesses and having to ride it out. Got a Category 5 hurricane coming right down the snot locker, and you can't flee. You have to ride it out. Not good. Andy, this Save America Act is over. There was nothing that we could do. The Save America Act had everything to do with our senators talking about it. And here's why, ladies and gentlemen. Exhibit Alpha.
Well, if you're all in the same precinct,
Yes.
and you are already registered, which it looks like you are, then you can vouch for them as ID for them.
Oh, good.
She says to me, I say they do not need ID. She says, you are the ID.
He is the ID.
See, I am the ID.
And no ID needed. I just vouch for them.
Well,
It's
you're
good.
the ID.
I am the ID. It's good. How many people may I vouch for?
What is it? It's
8?
I thought it was 6.
I can vouch for 8 people. 8 people, no ID. We come right back. Thank you.
Well, if you're
That was James O'Keefe imitating to be a Muslim man in the fearful Islamic getup. And the poll workers of the DSA sitting there right there. He's registered to vote. He's on the list. He can vouch for 8 people. Therefore, Mississippi is getting screwed. And we're not supposed to be upset that Senator Hyde-Smith and Senator Wicker didn't come out and publicly support the Save America Act. Or even the SAVE Act, which was the watered-down version of it that nobody wants to talk about. If we are talking about this inside the Republican Party, I'm not aware of it. But what really gets me is how flippant we are. And I've got to hold off on this clip because I'm waiting for an official word from legal to make sure I can actually play this, because the sound is not coming from us. We're borrowing it from another source. But what I will say is this. There are conservative thought leaders inside of Mississippi who are looking at this judge appointmentship as flippant, Facebook rumor, innuendo, using the total Operation Mockingbird attack of ridicule, scorn, mockery. Oh, you're hearing about this Arabian judge? And then they sit there and they expect you to just go on your feelings and not do your own research. Meanwhile, on X, or not on X, but on YouTube and on TikTok, they're banning anything that talks about Sharia law inside the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and post this picture right here. And we're going to talk about it because symbols mean something. The worst enemy you can have is an arrogant enemy. The best enemy you can have is an arrogant enemy. And I'm sitting here looking at this picture of Judge Ali in front of her law practice, and she's got the crossing swords. And do you know what the crossing swords mean? Military conquest, fight, leadership. All of these Arab countries are built for fight and warring. They sit there and they have the cross scimitars. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm asking you to go do your own research and contradict me if you want. And you know what? That's good. I think it's great that Saudi Arabia has the crossing swords in their flag. They're Islamic nation. They should have it. But that's not the United States of America. And our local elected officials, especially on the Republican side, don't think that this is a big deal at all. In fact, they come out and attack the very Constitution that is being used against us to get rid of the Constitution. We can't even have debates anymore about whether or not Deuteronomy and Leviticus were the main two cited sources of law in the 1760s, 70s, and 80s when our Constitution was being written, where Blackstone is derived from. We can't talk about the Federalist Papers that completely talk about how Christianity was the value moral set that was important to us. I sit here and read quotes on the radio of our founding fathers, and they don't even compute to some people who supposedly were supposed to be on the same side. They think that we are somehow able to achieve God mode status. And then I see the Sunday shows where people who are criticizing this judge appointment are being called racist and bigoted. And we're just pointing out the truth. If you, we already chronicled it. I'm not going to play the radio or the sound quotes again. You can go back and listen to other shows where this woman represented some of the worst immigrating into the United States. And we're just supposed to sit here and be okay with it. People are coming in and crashing in on Amy Meck because she got the town of Beloit wrong with the town of Ridgeland. You know what? President Trump had an attempted assassination in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A guy crawled up on top of a warehouse and took a shot from 140 yards, and by the grace of God, missed him. Somebody died. Oh, wait. It wasn't Philadelphia. It was Butler. Forget the whole story. It's all bogus. None of that happened in Philadelphia. It happened in Butler. Just trash the whole thing. And now citizen journalists are digging into what's going on in Beloit, Mississippi. Benoit, Mississippi. I get it confused. It just is what it is. And certain people inside the conservative ecosphere are mocking that. Never mind, the other 90% of the facts are correct. Is it unfortunate that it was labeled as Ridgeland and not Benoit? Yes, it is unfortunate. Does that ruin the whole story? No, it doesn't. We've got foot washing stations that are going in DFW, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas Airport. We've got foot washing stations in Orlando that are being removed that they said weren't there, but have been in place since 2019. And we're importing people like this into the United States of America.
Ya Allah, my one and only wish that you send.
Wow, wouldn't you believe that? As soon as I hit play, kaboom. That's okay. That was a imam, an Islamic cleric who was imported into the United States, talking about crashing out the United States, attacking our attacking our Constitution and our Christian nation, talking about invasion. Wow, I've never had this either. To skip disk checking, press any key within 3 seconds. Let's skip the disk check. I can't make this up. I wish I could turn the camera to show you guys this. I hate to say that, and now my pin has failed. Well, you know what? We're going to take an early break because I'm going to get this recovered because I want to play this because now I feel even more empowered to do it. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back. That's just crazy, dudes. How is it that just when I get into the anti-Islamic stuff, the computer crashes like that? It's insane to me. I can't make it up. I'm going to go get a Diet Cherry Coke. I'm stressed. Oh, the truth is coming. It's always crazy when you come back and you have Dearborn, Michigan trending. Happy, happy, happy. Joy, joy, joy here on the Andrew Gosser Show. Look, when this computer that I use to play all my sound clips and do all my research from, it is a 2025 computer, Hewlett Packard. It's not a gaming rig. It's more for like a college student. It doesn't have anything installed on it. And it just seems that whenever I get ready to talk about something spicy, it crashes. I can't make it up. But here's the clip. And I'm going to play this. And again, this is who we're importing into the United States.
Ya Allah, my one and only wish that you send me back to dunya so I can strive and fight for you and I would die for your sake again.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice was a lifestyle, was a mindset, was a mentality. To the point that even when he died, like it's done, brother. There's no exam. After you die, it's over. No, I still want to sacrifice. And the one and only wish that he had is to go back and sacrifice again and again and again for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sacrifice is the key word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves more than ever. Keep in mind, brothers and sisters, the victory that is very soon will never come to us until we show the sacrifice.
Is that what you want being taught in your local church? Could you imagine if a Christian church started doing that? It's crazy. You know, there is this video coming out. I wasn't going to play it, but this is coming out of, I I'm not going to say where, but it's Christians surrounding Arabs in America and shouting them down. Listen to this.
I believe they're going to cancel the 6:30 City Hall meeting because everybody's chimping the fuck out. They're chimping the fuck out. I don't have bananas. Chill out. I don't have bananas.
Of course, I kind of twisted that a little bit. It's a bunch of young militant Islamists surrounding Christians who are trying to get into the Dearborn, Michigan City Hall meeting, and they're being shouted down and surrounded. That's not America. This is happening right here in the States, and it's starting to happen here in Mississippi. Now, is it to the point that it's Dearborn, Michigan, or Texas? No. But the nose of the camel is poking its nose into the tent. And what are we going to do about it? I'm going to go ahead and repost this too. I'm not going to heart it. I don't say these things just to get clicks and likes and notoriety. It's actually very difficult to speak out against stuff like this because you have friends who they'll sit next to you, right next to you, sitting in the pew, thinking that you're a great guy, and then you find out you're talking about this. Well, I've got a neighbor who's that, and it's never like that. And then a couple weeks later, next to the pew, it's like, my wife doesn't feel so comfortable anymore. And we wonder what's happened to our country. We don't stand up for nothing. And I'm not saying we got to pick up arms and go to war, but I'm saying we have to call this stuff out. And the fact that the mayor of Benoit, Mississippi doesn't have an actual physical address in Benoit, Mississippi, well, she kind of does, but is she renting it? Does she own it? Who's her roommate? Who are they renting it from if it is a rental? I'm just asking the questions. I wish I had the answers, but FOIA only moves so fast. We've got all these signs popping up all over the place. And we in Mississippi are not paying attention to this. Again, we moved to Mississippi because we thought this was the conservative place to be, where a daughter would be raised, good community. I don't play for all the craziness that is imported into our state. The intentional discrimination and irresponsible reporting of certain news media events. But you even have our major TV stations now trashing our own Constitution and the Lord that got us here to be more inclusive. We elect people in the United States now who can't speak English. Look at that crazy congressman from Michigan who represented Detroit, Michigan's 13th congressional district. I know there's a lot of people here who have relatives in Detroit. Go call them up. I know I have a lot of liberal friends who listen to this station. I have a lot of black friends who listen to this station who don't always agree with me or Clay or Kim or Lindsay or Chip. But you listen, and your eyes aren't lying to you. At some point, we've just got to say enough is enough. We sit there and we bash the people who are trying to get rid of the illegal aliens into this country. We cheer for the Democrat Socialists of America. I have Democrat friends who here think that the DSA is great. And you know what? They're only 25% of the Democrat Party now. But just 10 years ago, they were less than 5%. We had on Dr. Patricia Williamson of Carver County, Minnesota. You know, the Democrat Party in Minnesota is not even the Democrat Party, it's the DSA. It's insane what's going on. This is a longer clip, but I hate to sit there and I can pontificate it, but I think it's better that you actually hear what they're actually saying inside America. Because when you you want to know what? We're going to pull that off. This is an article from Magnolia Tribune, how Hamas attack on Israel is transforming American politics. Dr. Abdul El Said's victory in the Democrats' U.S. Senate primary in Michigan last Tuesday was the latest sign of an emerging kingmaker in U.S. politics, a little-known super PAC that has tapped the wealth of a new cadre of Muslim American mega donors to support far-left candidates. Well, let's see who these donors are, shall we? I just want to make sure that I get them all. Harun Mukhazadara donated $25,000. Nasir Bagherudi donated $25,000. Mohammed Mahidi Davoudi, $100,000. Shakil Ahmed, $10,000. The list goes on and on. Hussein Marouk, $1,000. Hamyara Ali, New Jersey, $9,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this is over $6.5 million collected. And this isn't me making this stuff up. This is the FEC.gov website as put through Magnolia Tribune. And they're not bringing in the value system that our founding fathers brought in. They're not bringing in the value system of live and let live, or peace, or kindness, or mercy, but as a Islamic justice. And I say all that to say this. Maybe it was divine intervention that my computer crashed. This is 1 minute and 53 seconds. I want you to listen to this guy and then wait till you hear where he's from.
We spent the last 30, 40 years in this country building 3,000 masjids, 300 Islamic schools, 250 elected officials, $4.3 billion. The next
30 to 40 years they've been doing this. And I keep on telling you, it's a long game. And some of you all get so ticked off after the first 2 years being a precinct delegate, you quit.
30 years have to be about investing in leaders and change makers. And it's not just Memphis.
And the imagery on this video is pretty terrifying. It's got the American flag with the Islamic moon and crest rising over the American flag.
It's Islamic Center. It's every one of the 3,000 masjids in America. Our next move, our next priority is to develop as many Mus'ab bin Umairs as possible, because Islam is a solution. Because Islam is a solution.
That's the Muslim Brotherhood slogan, by the way. The same is Muslim Brotherhood that's been identified as a terrorist organization all across Europe.
The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent as a solution to all of mankind's problems.
We have now reached.
And I'm just telling you that this guy is coming out of Memphis Islamic Center. They're openly saying it. And shout out to Wall Street Apes for posting that. I'll repost it. You know, we can have our local political leaders, our state political leaders say that it's not a big deal what's happening in the United States of America with respect to having the far Eastern culture of Islam clash with the Western Judeo-Christian value set. This has been happening for a long, long time, ladies and gentlemen. And I could sit here and play audio clip after audio clip. And you notice that guy didn't have an Arabic accent or even a European accent. That's homegrown. Just like Judge Ali. She is from Yemeni descent. What I haven't been able to figure out yet, and what people can't seem to figure out, is whether or not they are descendants of the Houthi tribe. The ones that are causing all the trouble at the Straits of Abel Mandel. Those of us in the Navy who served Barbara Mandrell. I haven't even had the chance yet to talk about the USS Abraham Lincoln and all the misinformation that I've got from that. And I've gotten a lot of it. I got one of it straight from the horse's mouth, by the way. But we can sit here and we can sit there and get on all these different talk shows, podcasts, TV stations, and get all the favorable press. Or you can tell the truth. And this is the one thing that selection breeds out really quick. Everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody wants to go ahead and be the one going in and doing all the work. But are you willing to put in the test of time, the real work, the real selection process? Or do you have the integrity to say something's wrong even when everybody else is saying, no, this is right? Everybody I hate to say it like this, but it's true. Everybody wants to be the Navy SEAL or the Green Beret or the Ranger or the Delta Group or Delta Force, Dev Group. Don't want to misconstrue those two. They're very different. Respect to all of y'all. And I'm not any of those. But people sure like to pretend they are on the internet. But when the chips are really down, have you gone through that? Everyone wants to be the pilot, but they don't want to go through all the work it takes to become a pilot, to land on an aircraft carrier. Sorry, fighter pilots at Flare. Not real fighter pilot, not real fighter. Oh, I'm going to be in so much trouble for that. I'm just kidding, Air Force bubbas. Not everybody gets a tail hook. See, I can jab at both sides. But it's true. No one wants to go through the Air Force Academy to become a pilot. They just want the F-22. No one wants to go through Navy ROTC to get the F-35. No one wants to go through Marine Corps to go get the Super Cobra. They just want to have it handed to them. And that's what's happening right now. We just want to have everything handed to us without doing the work. And AI is doing that. Our iPad kids are getting that. They're having everything handed to them. Do you think the human brain is designed to take in all that information that's coming in on an iPad at 2.5 years old? Not even close. We're melting these kids' brains before they even get a chance to really take off their diapers and start walking around. But that's just my opinion. We are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back. I think it's a pretty good show so far. Oh, brother, you are preaching to the choir there. Don't say Ottoman Empire all over again. You're going to have a real problem, but I'll say it. They're just melting our brains until they don't work anymore. And we can't fight. It's really sad. I hope you become a precinct delegate, dude. I truly do. Arsenal 3, Manchester City 0. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. You got to have a little bit of fun there. My Arsenal did play yesterday. I didn't even watch them. Was busy watching church. And I had to watch the service. I couldn't actually go yesterday, but I did watch, and I didn't pay attention. And then afterwards, my son texted me and said, "Hey, did you see that City absolutely?" Well, I can't say the word he actually said, but didn't do so hot, and Arsenal won 3-0. So hooray! But look, there all sorts of stuff kicking off. Lots of texts coming in, and I definitely have some calls to make afterwards. But Lisa asked the question, maybe you know this, English is not our official language. Has it ever been passed by law as our official language? Nope. English has never been passed as a law as our official language. You know why? Because everybody who came to America wanted to learn English. They were leaving their countries that they came from to start a better life. But that's not happening here anymore. They're not coming here to assimilate. They're here to assassinate. Can you send the Wall Street Apes video out on Memphis? I can only send it out on X because Facebook doesn't like me. I do have Rumble, but X is where you have to find me, and you're gonna just have to get it there. But it's all on my account, so you can do it there. Brothers checking in, saying this is the Ottoman all over again. If you don't know about the Ottoman Empire and what happened there, you should. But using a different tactic today, boiling the frog. That's exactly what's happened. They're boiling the frog. And I think it's awesome that we have people out there who are recognizing this for what it is and aren't afraid to talk about it. It's one thing for one talk show host to get on there and get so well versed. I got to tell you the truth too. I've spent way too much time in that Quran studying, but the people that I follow, the Christians, they sit there and they say they spend more time studying the Quran to be able to debate the Islamic scholars because there's so many holes in it. But if you don't know where to poke and you don't know where to prod, then you're not going to know. And I spent a lot of time in the book too, because they're going to be asked questions, and you just don't want to be one of those warm water Christians. You want to be on fire. You want to be able to speak the truth. And that's what I really want to get at is it's Mississippi. Everybody knows a Christian pastor. Everybody knows someone who serves at the church. Whether you go to the church or not, you know somebody who does it. So you get the benefit. It's like the Second Amendment. You might not like the Second Amendment. You might hate guns, but you benefit from your neighbor owning a .357, an AR-15, and several other hunting weapons. Or should I say firearms? I'm no longer active duty. I got to say firearms. I'll get there someday. But the same concept applies. But we're losing that herd immunity because Dr. Fauci said it doesn't exist, even though we all know it does. And AI is becoming less and less reliable. It's being more programmed to give us things we don't want, which is what I want to talk about. Because I'm seeing a lot of these so-called military supporters out there complaining about what happened on the Abraham Lincoln. And I was sent more than one video and image that turned out to be AI. And I didn't even have to run it through AI. I know what the U.S. Navy uniform looks like. When you've got pictures of sailors eating on the USS Abraham Lincoln wearing coveralls that say USS Nimitz on it with a flag on their head that is not the U.S. Navy insignia, not their rank, you know it's AI. And us military old hats, we can see BS from a mile away. If I saw something on an Army uniform that I wasn't sure about, I could go message Top right now, and he could get it figured and squared away right away. Luckily for me, I know a little bit about U.S. Navy, a little bit about the United States Air Force, a lot about the United States Air Force, a lot about the United States Navy, and a little bit about the United States Marine Corps. Guys, the disinformation war being waged, not just on you, but your friends and family who have good intentions, have good hearts. They hear about all this suffering that's on the USS Abraham Lincoln, people jumping over the side. It happens. What really bothers me is that there are some military people out there who know better than that some of the stuff being reported is just absolute bull. And they're running with it because of their TDS and they're chasing the clout. I will never chase the clout. Don't need to. I know where I'm going. I'm in a good place. That doesn't mean I can't help people get to where I'm at and where I'm headed. And granted, I want to make gains in the political sphere. I do. But the spiritual realm is where this war is actually being fought. And make no mistake about it, it's just spiritual. You have God-fearing Republicans coming on podcasts saying, oh, it's not a big deal what's happening. We just need to cool down. We just need to settle down. No. We need to truly investigate these claims to the fullest extent of the law. And if the mayor actually did this, then we need to investigate it. You know, you can't even go on YouTube and TikTok anymore and search up Jizra and Takuri and Shirk. It's all been, the algorithm moves so quick, you can't find definitions of it. Luckily for me, I have bookmarks of some of this stuff, and I planned, the smartest thing I ever did was bookmark it all. I should probably save it all to my hard drive, so in case they actually delete the video in and of itself. But we've all heard the shadow bans. And remember how they said, oh, shadow banning wasn't happening on Facebook back in 2017, 2018? Remember how they went from shadow banning to outright banning it in 2020 and 2021? They're doing the same stuff with this. They're running the same playbook. They're running the same play over and over again. And we're so silly, we're falling for it. We can go to Mama Hamil's on a half tank of gas. We can go to Foundation Burger and go get a burger. We are absolutely having next to no impact on our daily lives. Now, the mainstream media will sit there and complain about the gas price day in and day out. They'll talk about all the luxuries in life that we're supposedly missing out, but we're not missing out on it. Kroger's still getting its food. Super Walmart's still open in Byram. Tire store's still open. I can still call the guy to come cut my grass if I need that. I can still go to the local hardware store if I need to do that. There's no part of society right now that's actually, quote unquote, suffering. Andrew, that's just your sphere. You don't understand about the poor people. Oh, I understand about it. The EBT check's still coming out. You might have to work 20 hours to get it now. But again, it gets all back to that dependence on government instead of independent from government. And there's all sorts of us who are in different places right now. And we're all fighting each other. And it's if you're Satan, you're sitting there going, wow, I'm getting pretty good at this. But there's only one way this ends. And no matter how much wrong you might have done, no matter how much you think you're not worthy, and you're not, you are covered by God's grace. It's there for you for the taking, and it's free. But we're not supposed to talk about that in our schools, in our politics. Separation of church and state. What a lie. We can go sit there and talk for hours. We can talk for days, months, years about early jurisprudence in the United States of America. There's a reason people swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, on top of a Bible. We sit there and we just completely eviscerate all of our historical knowledge and history because we don't like the way that something might make you feel because you did something you weren't supposed to do. Man, I got so much more. I got this commercial sent to me. IUD, birth control for 16-year-old. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYB. We'll be right back. Only in America, ladies and gentlemen, can we allow our enemy to infiltrate and invade our own sovereign territory and let them build bases and then use the same establishment to attack us. Only in America. We've got a great country. It's worth fighting for. And I, for one, am going to continue to fight for it. I know a lot of you are too. One of the best videos going around on X right now is Sophie Cunningham, ladies and gentlemen. She's been taking a lot of crap for standing up for women in women's sports. They've got the XXXY t-shirts running around right now saying support women's sports, and people wearing those shirts to the WNBA game are not being allowed access into those events unless they take the shirt off or put on a different shirt. Yet they'll go ahead and they'll break to a Trans Lives Matter t-shirt there at the WNBA. The WNBA is so full of it. I've reposted it on my X feed, and for some people it might be a little bit too sultry. But Sophie Cunningham decided that after the WNBA game, she was going to go to a local bar, get herself a cocktail, and sing a little bit of karaoke. And she ended up singing the Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. And I'm just saying, any red-blooded man is going to sit there and appreciate that video. There's nothing pornographic about it. I'm just going to say you're going to appreciate it. And, men is a handsome creature. Women is a beautiful creature. And to sit there and listen to these agents of Satan sitting there taking away our natural beauty and masculinity is a crying shame. And when I sit back there and I look at this, whether it be the attacks on our government, whether it be attacks on us spiritually, whether it be attacks on us for our gender, the attacks for our liberty, our freedom, our way of life, we've had it good for so long. We don't understand what we're about to enter into this debauchery stage, this stage of dependency, this stage of going from wanton lust to wanton food. I sit there and I shiver to think about what I may see in the next 5 years. And people are like, oh, it's going to take another 30, 40 years. I think the technology age is going to speed it up even more. I really do. More and more people's religion will become sports. And not necessarily the pew. More and more people will be more concerned about status and clout on TikTok and Insta than it will with their own family and friends. We'll make it to where the really important things in life become trivialized and automatized and so easy. Things that we took for granted just 5 years ago will now become a luxury. It's kind of a dystopian view, and I hate to end it on a negative note, but when I see the things blasting through my feed, I can't help but think of stuff like that. Look, Lindsey Beckham's coming up next here on the Freedom Post. That is 103.9 WYB. We'll be back again tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And until then, take care, be blessed. Yes and amen. By the way, Blake's filling in for me tomorrow. Be blessed. Yes and amen. Amen, ladies and gentlemen.